JTrain podcast. It's JTrain, Jared Freed, coming live from the West Village of Manhattan. We're here every Monday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for sending in your issues. That's right. This is where you come with all those issues you don't want to talk to with your friends and family, because you know what? They're going to lie to you. They don't, they want to be comfortable. They want to be able to eat lunch with you. So this is where you write in so that you can get an honest perspective from myself and a comedian friend of mine who isn't, I'll say the power of comedians answering your emails is we're all judging. When people say no judgment, no, they don't mean that. We're just not surprised. There is no what did you say? You did what? You're never going to get, you did what? You're never going to get that from my guests and I. So, and again, anything you want to send in, lifestyle advice questions, relationship, friendship, all these things, anything we can gnaw on the bone of your problem. We're going to make it fun. We're going to be positive. We're going to think for solutions. We're going to, we're going to show you compassion. So jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. That's the email. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Send it in, anything you'd like. I have added dates, people. So I want you to come to the shows. I've added a lot of dates, okay? I'm not some of these are crazy, the differences in cities. If you're listening now, I'm going to be in D.C. this weekend and Baltimore. Baltimore, there's 50 tickets left. We went from no tickets sold in Baltimore to they're all gone. So Baltimore, there's 50 tickets left. D.C., there's a second show added. Toledo, I'm coming for one night only. Dania Beach, Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Albany. Had no idea I was going to Albany. San Diego, Madison, Wisconsin, one of the best clubs in the country. So excited. New York. I'm playing at Town Hall. Big show at Town Hall, New York City. Boston, Toronto, Chicago, Minneapolis, Royal Oak, Michigan, Denver, Colorado, and San Francisco. JaredFreed.com. Our guest today from the great town of San Francisco. Am I right on that? Totally wrong. Why did but you're a West Coast Jew.
I am a West Coast Jew. I'm from LA. I started comedy in San Francisco. That's so okay. You got it. So, there's a reason you thought that.
I got something there. Louis Katz, thank you for coming back. You've been on the show before, Louis.
Yes, I have. Yes, it's been a while, but I have been on the show before. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. You have a new special out that we want everyone to go watch and enjoy. Louis is hilarious. You're going to love his brand of comedy. I love watching Louis at the Cellar. It's on his YouTube, youtube.com/Louis Katz Comedy, @Louis Katz Comedy on Instagram. The special, where did you tape it? It is called Present Tense. Yes. But we discussed before the taping that it has a great clickable thumbnail, the best comedian you've never heard of. Yes. I love that everyone's just I've been in the clickbait game since starting comedy. I understand the idea of you're not going to believe what's behind this link you're going to click. So it's fun to see everyone join me on No Soul Island. So
you have no problem doing whatever it takes for these clicks.
It's already doing great. It's already over 100,000 views very quickly. It's hilarious. I mean, I love watching you on stage. Where did you tape it? What's going on with it?
I taped it at the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins last May. So it took me a year and a half to put it out because I was doing it all myself. I paid for it. I was sitting there with the editor. I worked in it all myself, along with other people. So it took a while for me to put it out. But it's great. I did this really great small club in Fort Collins. Have you been to the Comedy Fort?
I've heard about it. Everyone loves it. And it's how far from Denver is it?
It's about an hour from Denver. It really is it's almost like the Cellar meets Comedy Works. So that's two of the best clubs mixed together. He could not have created a better club there. The only problem is it is still a small town in Colorado. So my jokes about Jews and black people over people's heads sometimes. But
do you feel that there? I mean, it is a small town. You go an hour outside of Denver, you're in the mountains. In Fort Collins, I've heard it's beautiful. I heard the club, as you've described it, is great. When you bring up the name, the Comedy Cellar, the Comedy Works, these are two of the greatest clubs. does it feel small townish? What is it? What, you do jokes about Jews and black people. Are they? Is it more a fear of like not knowing the people you're joking about?
They don't have enough people around to know. This is my feeling everywhere. Fort Collins is actually a specifically good town because it's a college town. But my feeling everywhere is if there's not enough of the group of people around, they're like, I don't know if this is okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if this is right. And so there's just not enough there for them to totally feel okay with it. I think they're getting better at it. And I was actually just back there last weekend, and man, it's like, I've always lived in big cities. I lived in LA, I lived in the Bay Area, I lived here. And I go there, I'm like, maybe small town life is for me. It's like it's like Pleasantville, dude. It's like you'll just be like, maybe this is it. Maybe I can move here. It was just gorgeous weather. It was really nice.
The older I get, the more I kind of understand the comforts of that. Like, yeah, I'm in New York City right now, but like there is like, man, you go, oh wow, you have a living room. You just like take your car out and go and get something and then come back and like sit in the comfort of your own home. Like we give up comfort a lot in these, in the city life, lifestyle.
You just get used to it. You just adapt to it. You're like, oh, this is normal, having no closet and a shower in my living room. That's a normal thing for people, how people live, and it's not normal, and it's kind of unacceptable. But whatever,
And comedy now, we're doing this over Zoom. Comedy now is like there's the ability to like you go, I could do that. The minute you're given the little bit of an inch, you take a mile. The inch of like, I could do things over Zoom. I could go on the road on the weekends. This is an hour away from the Denver airport. I'm not, I like eating elk and deer, like I could live this way.
Who doesn't like a nice venison,
Right.
But no, I totally think that all the time. I'm also on, and not to get too into it, in like escape mode, like where if things go down in this country, where am I going to escape to? So I'm already thinking, where does affordable escape to financially in this country, and then if I have to get out of here, then where do I go? I'm always thinking, where do I escape to? I'm still in New York. I'm not going anywhere, but it's constantly on my mind.
It's funny when times are weird. You start to hear that more and more. Like right now, times are weird. You can feel it in the environment. I remember 2007 during, the financial collapse, I would hear from a lot of friends who knew a guy at work who now brought a gun in.
Work? Where do they work?
Like they'd work in like finance, and they'd have like truther finance bro, which is a type of finance bro. Like there's like always like the finance bro who says it's all going down, man. Yet he has like a fallout shelter made of gold that he's gonna like revert to. And you hear that, and it's funny when you're like, okay, I got to make sure I know where the exits are in life. I could be small town. Like I heard a big plane go by the other day, and I was like, this is it. And I'm like, why am I thinking this way? This is crazy. Yeah.
Well, the good news is, due to climate change, there's nowhere to run. So, might as well stay put because you can't escape it anyway.
Right. There it is. So, listen, this is a positivity podcast. We got Louis Katz here. I want everyone to go to his YouTube. Make it a night on the couch. It's called Present Tense. It's youtube.com/Louis Katz Comedy, @Louis Katz Comedy. The link to the special is going to be in the description of this episode. I'm going to have it on all my socials. So make sure you check it out. We got some emails, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. This episode of the JTrain podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. When your life feels like it's imploding. I mean, we're talking about these feelings being in the air. Instead of hiding away and playing video games or stuffing your feelings down, give therapy a shot. BetterHelp is online therapy designed to work with your busy schedule. Just fill out a quick survey, get matched with a licensed therapist, and be on your way to better mental health. I will say this. I am a person who gets in their own way, and I'm sure most people are like me. The best toe into the water of therapy, if you're sitting there being like, what do I even do? What's a first move? BetterHelp. That's a great place to start. It's going to be a marketplace that you can check out from the comfort of your own comfy cozies in your bed. BetterHelp lets you get in touch with your therapist through Zoom calls, over the phone, or by message. Whatever works for you. If you don't mesh with your first therapist, you can switch at any time for no additional charge, no questions asked. Therapy can completely transform your life. Get started today so you can move on to a happier, healthier version of yourself. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/J JTrain today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JTrain. We're here with Louis Katz. Go follow at Louis Katz Comedy. So funny.
Thanks. And then I would say the new special is actually about all this. That's why it's called present tense. It's about how the present is kind of tense, for me personally, and in some ways for everybody. So it's got some of those themes in the special. So I think people like it.
I mean, are people being like, holy shit, this is what's going on right now? Like, what do you?
Well, it's a personal thing, and then they just flip it to being kind of universal right at the end. There's like a little bit of an ending, and I think, it's an ending I wrote. I don't want to give anything away. I wrote it the week before I taped it. I was like, I hope this works.
Right.
And people are responding, and it's pretty amazing to see.
Here's the thing about Louis. I will say, you're out there. You're on the road. You're testing this out in a place like Fort Collins. You're testing this out in a place like Boston, L.A., San Francisco, Minneapolis. You're going all over the country. Like, I think that's something like, sometimes everyone's putting out a special. Everyone's putting out this stuff. Like, we know who's touring and making sure that this is going to be something you can sit on the couch with a significant other, with your friend, with your partner, and go, oh, this is like a real deal comedy special. Like, I think people need to clue into that, because there's just so much out there, and we want to cut through the noise.
Yeah, it's hard. I say the big thing about the comedy boom now, there's so many comedians, and the problem is it'd be great if most comedians suck. But a lot of them are kind of good, right? They're kind of good. But the problem is all that good is hiding the great. And I'm aspiring to be great, as you are, as we all are. Know? And I think that kind of helps a little bit. I think people, the comments have been very, you always hear YouTube comments are nightmares, just trolls, like just annihilating people, just trying to destroy someone because they're so sad and alone. And the comments have been very positive, man. And I think it's showing that, like, this is someone who's been doing it for years, who knows what they're doing, who's a step above just the average comedian, I mean,
you put out a commercial for it. The cast of people who gave their thumbs up to you, it was like Mark Maron, Nate Bargatze, Maria Bamford.
Maria wasn't on there.
Never mind.
Ali Wong. Ali Wong. There was one with Mark Normand. I mean, it was. They people came out, they really supported. It was really nice of them, but
Dave Attell.
Attell. Yes. Attell.
And you've been on the road with Attell, a bunch of times.
Yes. I've been on a road with him for a long time. He's really helped keep me going. In between my own headlining dates, I still open for him, and he's been a lifeline. He's it's pretty cool. He was my favorite comic when I started out. He still is, and now we're friends too, and we work together, which is awesome.
Do you get like annoyed when someone like tells you that, like I see you on stage, I wouldn't say that you're dirty, but there's, you talk about sex sometimes, and then I see dirty bits. Do you ever get people that are like, oh, that like tell you you're dirty, and you're like, oh, what the fuck, is just comedy?
I mean, sometimes, and there's a couple people in those YouTube comments who are like, "Oh, this is like that," but most people get it. I think they expect that, and I also do a good thing where I always like kind of walk the line or push the line, but don't totally cross it, and also don't complain about like too much about like I'm not allowed to say this. I just say it and hope it lands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say when I hear you talk about sex stuff, it's never gratuitous. It's never like in a way like I'm always like, I'm like, yeah, that is where I should be. I think that's the thing with like something that's, when it comes to like sex stuff, you go, how did we get here? Did we get here for no reason at all? Or was there like did we get brought to this place? That's like, when people are like, can you say this stuff in front of your parents? It's like, well, I brought them to the place where we're all comfy cozy on this island that, sex topics come up.
Not to blow your mind, but the reason you're here is because your parents had sex. So
you're making my point right now, but you're making my point. That's exactly the point, is like, what a reasonable way to talk about sex is like, well, we need that to have a baby.
Yes.
And yes, someone would like to come during that. Both people would like to come. So everyone go watch the special at Louis Katz Comedy on YouTube, on all the social medias. Okay, temporary vacation romance. That's why I'm happy to have you here to answer these emails. We have some very heady emails, but I think you're going to give care to these problems. Jared, an esteemed guest, love the pod and all your advice. Thanks for giving me something to look forward to each week. I recently went on a feral girl summer trip to Europe where I had several travel flings, but didn't expect anything to last. On my last few days of the trip, I met a guy from Australia who I really hit it off with. I'm a 30-year-old female. He's a 28-year-old male. We met at a bar and ended up spending a really romantic next day together, sightseeing and acting like a couple. We were both leaving the country the following day, but he mentioned a few times that I'm his exact type, and if I lived in Australia, he would want to date me. I didn't really think anything of it since he still had 2 weeks left of his trip, and I figured he would probably meet a new girl in the next country. After we left, to my surprise, we kept consistently messaging every day. One night he asked to FaceTime, where he showed me the dates he had lined up to come visit me and ended up booking a flight on the call. So What I thought would immediately fizzle has turned into him flying 21 hours to come visit and stay with me in New York for an entire week. For some added context, his mom did pass away last year, so I'm thinking he may have the life is short mentality right now. We have continued to message every day and FaceTime every couple days. I'm usually a pretty logical thinker, so I'm trying to keep myself from becoming emotionally invested, but I am starting to develop feelings for him, which scares me. My question for you guys are this. 1. Would a guy book an expensive flight across the world if he only saw this as a fun, quick fling? Or does this level of effort to see me mean he has real feelings? 2, is this guy thinking about the future of what we could be after this NYC trip, or is he just taking things day by day? 3, is it a red flag that he booked this trip on a whim? Could it be possible he has tons of women he's flying around and seeing, or does this mean he feels there is something different and special between us? Louis Katz, this is a very thoughtful email. I really like it a lot. What do you think? Any thoughts?
Well, first of all, when I was saying I'm looking for someone to escape, Australia is on the top of my list. So I say, let's see where this plays out, because that is some top tier citizenship right there. You know, if it works out.
You'd like to be in Australia. You go the other way.
Well, New Zealand would be my top, but it's close enough. You know what I mean? I just feel like far from everyone else on an island is the best place to be.
I want to escape to an island full of goats. Yes. That's what you're
Goat
looking
Island.
for.
That's where I am. Yeah. Goat Island. But I guess to answer, it's like I don't think it's this person has a bunch of, unless they're super rich, I don't think they have a lot of women they do this with at all. Right?
Let's get that one off the table. Yeah. Is it a red flag that he booked on a whim? I don't know if it's a red flag. Seeing tons of women, yeah, unless he's Leonardo DiCaprio and he's on his jet just going from town to town to, pick up more puss. I don't think that's happening. Yeah. I actually think it's interesting what her assumptions are. Her assumptions are very much in a black and white world that a woman could live in. I mean, even the way she describes her trip. I went to Europe on a feral girl summer. Okay,
is that a thing? I was like,
it's feral is like a word that's kind of in the oeuvre right now, where you're going to act like a wild animal, and women use it. Because no man uses it, because we're always feral. Yes. This idea that it's like a hoe phase. Like,
I picture like digging through garbage for scraps, but that's.
I mean, we would do that too. I'm just saying. No, but I think there's this defining that women do a lot that I have no relation to. I don't know if you do. This idea that well, now I'm going to Europe and I'm going to be feral, as opposed to when I'm at home, that's when I'm really dating thoughtfully and going to go on dates with my, my shirt buttoned up and with my, with my Sunday best on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say for me, it was 40 years of feralness, and then finally I found someone. I mean, always basically feral. I'm married now. I'm still a little feral, to be honest. Not sleeping around, but I'm I'm more up in the garbage with the scraps. But right. I'm just an animal. You know what I mean?
You're a feral-minded man, yes. which is all yes. men. And I think and it's not to gender this, but I'm just seeing I've been to Europe alone. I went to Europe thinking, hey, I hope to hook up in every city I go to. I hooked up in 0 cities. Okay?
That's happened to me so many times.
Right. So, like, it's funny the way she thinks of this, of like, wow, because he got with her, he must be doing this town to town. He's just going, oh, I thought we'd have a thing. She writes in her email, I figured he'd probably meet a new girl in the next country. No, he is excited because you are probably one of one. Like, I don't think he was, do you know what I mean? Like, totally. I think she's seeing it as like, I think a female experience abroad in a country where you don't speak the language, it's a little bit easier to meet people than it is for this guy from Australia who doesn't speak the language.
Yeah. I also think, her thing about it, flying out to meet other girls, like, you have to look at the length of this flight. Because I could see doing that. I would do that maybe even across, and I have done it, across the United States. 5-hour flight, 21-hour flight. This guy likes you. I mean, this guy, Do
you think do you think he's thinking farther ahead? That's kind of, I think her main question is like, how far ahead is this guy thinking? How excited should she be for the prospect of a real thing? And I don't think she's crazy, wrong, anything for wondering that. But I do think she has to like hit the brakes a little, pump the
temper it a little bit. Well, the thing is that I think everyone's thinking this could be a real thing. I think him and her, but I do think they both don't really know each other, and they met each other on vacation, which is like a magical time. Like, you got to know what it's like on like the shitty times. You know what I mean? Like the not doing anything fun times, the boring times, when they're upset. You know what I mean? The stressful times. So they only have each other in their. They've seen each other's best. You know what I mean? They got to see each other's work. They got to spend more than 24 hours together, I would say.
Here's what I'll give her inside the mind of a man, and I want you to like agree or disagree with me. You're free to do either. And again, she has 3 questions that she's written out very thoughtfully. I think what's assumed about the guy it doesn't work out with is that this was his master plan all along. His master plan was to spend $2,000 to get on a 21-hour flight to just fuck you, come, and go back to Sydney. And that is not the case. That's not how he's thinking. Like, there's nobody being like, where are you going next week? He's like, fuck some chick in New York. He's not talking like that, as much as it feels that way after it ends. I understand that, like, when you get burned and when you get ahead of yourself, you go, wow, I was just a body to him. I was just like an adventure, and he didn't think anything of it. I think the most people, the bell curve of the bell graph, I think most people are in that fat center where they're going, let's see what happens. This is exciting. This is a nice person. I had a connection. I don't think he's thinking 6 months down the line. I think it occurs to him, but I don't think he puts the importance in it. I also don't think he has the shame involved with, hey, I went there for a week. We had fun. I kind of realized over the course of the week, like, how are we ever going to make this work? And our match wasn't enough for me to go and do this again. And that's a more reasonable response to the week. That very well may happen.
Yes, I think so. I think so too. Like, whether he's thinking long term or not, it's really just about like seeing what a week is like, and testing that out. Right. And I think you're 100% right on that. That's much more reasonable. And it doesn't mean that he was just flying out there to fuck again, because that's a crazy, like, how desperate you have to be. I mean, like,
right.
Spend that much money and fly that far.
It is interesting. That's what she wants, though. She wants to hear either this guy's a piece of shit who's coming here to fuck me, because then she could go, I get what this is, or she wants, he's in love with me. The reality is you're not going to get either of those things. And he's not thinking in either of those ways. He's thinking in terms of, this is fun. I connect with this person. Let's see what happens. And I don't think he's any farther along than that.
I think it's a little more than that. I think it's a little more than that. I don't think it's this fun. That 21 hours. Dude, is he flying business class? Like, what classes ticket did he buy? Because if he's sitting middle economy to come see you, this guy,
he's got to like you a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I think there is the hope of it being a bigger thing, and if he's right in the head, actually. It should maintain, he should keep it a hope and let's see where it goes. But I need to see where this goes because it seems like it could have potential, you know?
Here's what I think it would help her is she can let you, this week is happening, whether and I understand she's probably nervous about the week happening. I can understand why. Like, what does this mean? What's it going to be? How about the minute he gets off the plane, there could be a talk of like, would you be okay of having an open conversation of being like, what would even be the next step? Like before the week gets started.
Jesus, what? How about let's get some lunch? How about lunch and a shower?
I think right. Definitely a shower. Middle seat economy. I don't know. I just think like, or maybe it's in the middle of the week where you go, I'm having fun, but like reasonable. What do you think? I always think it's good to get someone talking because then you can see how full of shit they are. And like, if you say to him, like, I would say for me, if I was in the one in New York, I would be like, hey, I'm having fun. I don't know what that even means. Have you thought about that? Like, I would admit I don't know because I think I would be in I don't know land. Do you think that's worth?
I just think you want to wait because even then, I think you want to wait till like kind of towards the end because like I said, you really want to spend as much time as possible and really catch them in different moments and see who this person is because also what you're saying you might not be sure about till you really get to know them better. They need to spend more time together and then have the conversation. Make sure you still think it's worth pursuing. You know what I mean? Like it's she's testing it out too, so it's like you don't want to be like what is this? What's our next step when maybe she doesn't want the next step? They both have to test each other out a little bit,
I know how I would be, and I know exactly what would happen to me. I would show up, we'd have a great time. I'd get to like the third day of this, and I'd be like, fuck, what have I gotten myself into? They're cool. I would say they're cool, but I'm not coming back 21 hours again to do this. And
I think that's possible,
that's where my mind would be, and I think that's like the most likely scenario. And she should be prepared for that mentally, like wow, I'm gonna have a really good time with someone that I might not see again, and enjoy that time, and then maybe you'll be surprised.
I think that's right. I think it's also I think that's the only way to look at this week.
Right,
I'm gonna have a good time with this guy who I already had a good time with, and that's and then have the conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Because the next conversation is like, am I coming to Australia? Like, am I going the other way?
Basically, yeah.
Do you have any miles? JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. That's the email. Here with Louis Katz at Louis Katz Comedy, youtube.com/Louis Katz, the special. It is out right now, an hour of laughs waiting for you. What a blessing. For free on your YouTube.
Yeah.
Weight gain and Ozempic. Do you know anyone on Ozempic?
No, I don't. I thought you were about to read another ad. Are you?
No. We're about 6 months away from that. They'll be here. 10% off.
I don't, but I'm really I haven't read that much about it. I'm really intrigued by it. I think I'm always like weirded out when everyone starts taking the new thing and no one's really sure about it. Like, that seems like, well, good luck. I don't know. Like,
I know a lot of people who brought up qualms about the vaccine that were like, I'm on Ozempic. No questions asked. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this person writes, Jared and guest love the special. Thank you. I have a question about how to talk to my husband about possibly starting a weight loss injection. Background. I went into heart failure in 2021 from what the doctors think is a long COVID complication.
Thanks.
I had to stop working out and gained 40 pounds. I've been able to lose 20 of them with the moderate amount of working out the doctors have cleared me to do, but I'm still uncomfortable and don't feel like myself. My husband works out daily at 4:30 a.m. and doesn't seem to understand why I just can't lose the weight. The main reason is when I try to push myself, I have arrhythmias, abnormal heartbeats, which scares me. I think he thinks I'm just lazy. It has affected our intimacy, but that's a me issue. Question is, do I talk to him before I talk to my doctor? I would have to pay out of pocket since my blood work is normal and my BMI is overweight, not obese. Or do I just keep working in the gym at the level I can and work on accepting my body as is? Don't think switching to Justin's is going to cut it. Thanks for the laughs. What do you think about this email, Louis?
This is really interesting. There's a lot of stuff here. It's really
Right.
really crazy. You know, there was one part that really got me was that it's affected their intimacy, but that's her fault. So is he? I don't
We're on the
understand
same
who has
page.
the problem, right? Like, is she self-conscious now that she's heavier? Because it sounds like he has issues with her not being heavier, but also she's saying it's her fault that the intimacy has gone down. So what? That I'm a little confused right there.
Right. Her problem isn't with, do I talk to him about the Ozempic? Her problem is deeper, which she doesn't really want to admit to. And you're exactly right. The same sentence spoke to me because she's blaming herself for the lack of intimacy, but it's a chicken or egg thing. You know,
Yes.
you gained weight. You think that your husband works out at 4:30 a.m., so he is a type. He is a certain specific type of person. And he doesn't understand why I just can't lose the weight. Like, I don't understand how anyone can understand how someone can't lose the weight. Like, it's like the most understandable thing in the world to me. So
yeah, it makes him sound a little bad there. I would
it doesn't
say. Maybe a lot bad.
Right. It sounds like he's not very empathetic. It sounds like he doesn't want to understand. And then she's like, the main reason I have heart arrhythmia, like, it scares me that my heart beats weird. Yeah, I would assume that would scare you. Like, and it's like the idea that you're not losing the extra 20 pounds because you're not working hard enough in the gym. Like, what Friday Night Lights Texas town are you working out in? Like, that's just like not the reason you're not losing weight, is that you're not going hard enough. You're not doing the stairs every Tuesday. Like, it's weird.
He's got a defibrillator next door, just ready to keep going.
Right. It's just, I think her perspective is wildly off. And I'm saying that, and like, I think we're both saying that in a caring way, because it's like, the idea that you're like, to get these 20 pounds, I have to resort to a medication, which the more I hear about Ozempic, the more I get it. The more, like, and I have family members who have, like, I've gotten the text. It was like a coming out text. It was like,
really?
Hey, I don't even think this works, but I'm going to do it. And just to let you know, this is happening. And I was like, okay.
Is it that big of a deal? Really? That's weird.
I think a lot of people, the stigma is, I don't want to have to, like, lie. Let's say someone goes on Ozempic, they lose the 20 pounds, and everyone's like, whoa, good for you. Look how hard you work. And you have to go, thank you. Like, you say nothing.
Or no one's going to say anything because they think you might be really sick.
Right.
And it's like awkward. They're like, you look great. I hope it's good. I don't know,
Listen, some people need the 20 pounds. That's the other thing. Like, I've met people who are on it that have lost a lot of weight. You're like, they look like a deflated balloon. Like, it's not the right look for them. Yeah. So, like, I mean, that's looks aside. That's my, if they feel better, that's the whole point, is like,
sure, I
want to feel right. But I do think this person wants to feel right because they feel judged by their husband.
Yeah. It sounds like he's a little bit of the problem. I mean, that's, like you said, that 4 a.m. That is like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. I mean, it sounds
that's
like
a
they
personality.
Have, like, yes, exactly. It sounds like they met. They probably kayak and they, or they, who knows? They're probably running up. They do like a good date is running up stadium steps or something. Who knows what they do?
Well, even that, I had to stop working out. I gained 40 pounds. I've been able to lose 20 of them. It's like, I'm almost there. It's like, what an accomplishment to lose 20 pounds. Like, the idea that you're like failing is like, there's a perspective here that I think it starts with not how do I talk to my husband about I'm going to go on Ozempic and pay upwards of $1,000 a month to do this out of pocket, because I've looked it up. And so I would say the first conversation is like, hey, I'm feeling a little like alone here, or I'm feeling a little judged based on like what's gone on with my body lately. And our intimacy has suffered because I feel self-conscious. Not, I feel self-conscious like, I think it's less you're the reason we're not having sex, and it's more like this whole atmosphere is making for an uncomfortable thing. Even he might be doing nothing. Like, she writes, She writes something very specific. My husband works out, and that's a me issue. Question is, do I talk? I would have had, maybe I'm. My husband works out daily. To think I'm lazy.
Yeah.
She goes, I think he just this is the sentence. She writes, the main reason why I try to push myself, I have arrhythmia, which scares me. I think he just thinks I'm lazy. So he never said that. She's inventing the thoughts in his head because of the atmosphere. So
that's interesting.
When you say, I think he thinks, that's your assumption. So we have to get to this.
That.
He might.
She has to find out. They have to communicate. You're right. You're 100% right. She is guessing what he's thinking, and that's a huge problem in relationships. You can't assume that they're thinking something. You can't guess. You can't think that they think. You have to ask them, do you feel this way?
Right.
And also I do think it's very tough for people with non-visible disabilities, which is basically kind of what she has now. And it's just, you're going to get judgment, and it's a hard road, man. I just know people that they're going to doubt them or whatever, you know what I mean? But
right, and especially and again, like, listen, I'm not doubting her feelings, but if your husband wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, that could feel like a judgment in itself. Yes. Like, you know, like you're in bed at 5 in the morning and you are woken up to the Stairmaster. I'd be like, okay, this is them yelling at me. I would feel that way.
He's doing jumping jacks at the foot of the bed, like just keep sleeping, baby. You know,
right.
Like it's
You're
like
good.
a maniac.
You're good. You've lost 20. I guess that's okay. Yeah, so I think her issue, the thing she needs to talk about is different than what she's looking to talk about. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com, here with Louis Katz. We're sponsored. Most people won't even tell you that you stink. They'll just start slowly avoiding you until you have no friends. Now, what a call to action by this ad. Lumi, you're going to have no friends if you don't use Lumi. Lumi's here to fix that. It's the world's first whole body deodorant. You can literally use it everywhere. I have Lumi deodorant. I have all the different types. It's awesome and it works. Your armpits, your feet, your butt crack. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and even control it for up to 72 hours. That's a whopping 3 days. I have it. The cream on your feet, it feels good. It smells, I will use this word specifically, delicious. The underarm stick is awesome. I had the toasted coconut. It smells great. Lumi is aluminum free, baking soda free, paraben free, and pH balanced, so it won't mess things up below the belt. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant. I have it. I love it. Cream tube deodorant. Have it. Love it. Use it on my feet. 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off. A Lumi starter pack with code JTrain5 at LumiDeodorant.com. That's over 40% of your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use code JTrain5. That's JTrain and the number 5. Here with Louis Katz. Relationship on the rocks.
Ooh.
Jared, need your help. I've been dating my boyfriend for over a year, both in our late 20s, and things have been going so well. We have been actively planning a shared future and have been looking at apartments together, getting a dog together. However, I've been feeling growing dissatisfaction with my current career, and I think I need to make a change. I opened up to him about my desire to enter a new field that I'm passionate about, which would involve a significant career pivot. Returning to school could potentially lower my overall earning potential. On the other hand, he has found his calling early and has achieved phenomenal success at a young age, so he's not really able to empathize with my situation, and his support has been lacking. I suspect it's affecting the perception of me. He is pretty status conscious and is upset that I'd be giving up a high prestige job to pursue an average, less ambitious career. This has culminated with him telling me this weekend that he believes we're moving too quickly and should press pause on living together. He wants to take time to figure out what he needs in a long-term partner, as he has never been in a relationship this serious. Always thought he would meet someone and settle down in his late 30s versus late 20s. He insists it's not about me, but rather his need for personal exploration. He still envisions a future together, but says he needs more time before confidently saying yes. I know this is a direct reaction to my corporate quarter life crisis. I'm empathetic because I know this isn't what he originally signed up for, but it hurts to see our entire life that we were building together go up in flames. I'm torn between ending things right now to rip off the Band-Aid and move forward, and honoring his request for me to be patient while he explores this with his therapist. I genuinely see a life together, but this situation is deeply hurtful and raises questions about our compatibility. Is it a matter of wrong timing or wrong person? Should I hold out hope that we make it through this? Your insights are greatly appreciated. Thanks. Dumped for my quarter life crisis. Louis Katz.
I mean,
I told you these are deep emails. These are great ones.
These are big ones. I mean, maybe because I'm not in the corporate world, that sounds horrific that he would. First of all, I don't think that's why he's breaking up. He wants to explore his personal whatever. He's not ready, and he's trying to get his fuck on. That's what it sounds like to me. In the behind, but I don't know.
Great T-shirt, by the way. Trying to get my fuck on. Wear it at Disney.
I really, and I think she should break up with him, because I think this could be a slow, painful breakup, and I think that breakup will let him know that hey, this is, if you don't want this, it's gone. Good luck. You know what I mean? So, because sometimes that really wakes people up, It doesn't sound like he's gonna, though. He sounds, I don't like this break. She's going to grad school. That's a problem. I'd be like, great, you're going to grad school,
It's funny. I agree with you in the breakup thing. I think he also contradicts himself. She's basically like, I'm going in this new career path. It's going to take me towards school. And, he could hear that. And then he says, I'd rather settle down in my late 30s versus my late 20s. It's like, well, she's also presenting you a new life direction that allows for that time. When she says, I'm changing my job career and I'm going to need this time to go back to school and, start over again career-wise. And then if he's really oh, now this gives me time to settle in my 30s, I saw it. If you were the right person, if he believed in you. Do you know what I mean?
No, because I think he's saying what I said. I think he's trying to see other women. I think that's what that sounds like. She's talking about, there's that's the one thing is that, but the other thing is the moving in together, they're getting the dog. He's getting cold feet, you know what I mean? And,
right.
And that, so I don't think he's saying oh, now we can put off getting married. We can be together, but put off getting married to late 30s. That's not what it sounded like to me. It sounded like, maybe we got to,
right. I guess my point was, and I agree with you, that he isn't sure about her. I'm saying if he was sure about her and it was this timing thing, then he would stay in it and go, you're she's blaming her career change. She's basically, that's not what it is. Your career change gave him the opportunity to bring up all of his second guessing and give him an out.
That's right.
And that is what you do is you wait for kind of spread, this is a market correction. He's oh shit. It's an earthquake happening. It's good, I can run now. It's going to distract from everything else. If you were on the same career path, you would be you'd be writing in going, can you believe my boyfriend, is just running away from me when we have these great careers and nothing's happening? He found the variable that he could kind of he found the little crack in the thing to put his finger in to really rip it apart. Yeah. So
I think that's true.
And I think he keeps saying let me go talk to my therapist, all this stuff. I'm with you. I think he has to taste what life feels like without you. Because all this stuff he's saying is all hypothetical. What is he going to learn when he has you waiting for him while he's doing therapy and not getting together? You're just avoiding the inevitable.
Totally. And I think you said it right, where it's this is kind of, and it's not the actual reason, it's an excuse to break up. And I think she really needs to internalize that, because otherwise she'll have this weight on this decision Like, oh,
Right.
made this decision, and that's why I'm not with this guy anymore. No, man, it's a great decision if you need to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not good with him anyway. So that's that. So don't
Dump.
bring that kind of baggage into this new career, this new path of life.
Right. She signs off dumped for my quarter life crisis. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
you're dumped because this ain't the relationship
yeah,
for him and he's
yes.
not ready for it. And yeah, I think we see people get into comedy with a significant other and then it has a very short shelf life.
yeah, sure.
Like we see the people that start comedy. You know what I'm talking about? Like I always think like someone starts comedy with like a boyfriend or girlfriend, they will be gone within a year. And because comedy kind of becomes that like, well, I have this other thing. It becomes that thing they create to put their finger in the crack that they want to spread apart.
Sure. I also think any couple that like is together and then and then someone starts being a comedian, that seems very difficult. I think they have to have already established it. I have this weird life. I'm gone at night. I'm gone on weekends. You got to understand that that's that. But to be in the middle of a regular relationship and then someone starts doing that, that's a real test right there. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Like this woman, she, it's like the opposite in this woman's scenario. Like she's the one going to do comedy and then going,
yeah.
Let's figure this out. It's going to be different. It's going to be hard, but we have a good relationship. And he's going, ooh, there's an exit. I can get out of here. Some people create their own exits. Some people go into this new career to get rid of a girlfriend or boyfriend.
yeah. I never thought about that. Why do you comedy? I don't like it. I hate it. I'm not funny, but I just had to break up with somebody, and this was the easiest way. It was doing open mics.
Right. I want to do this other thing that's a little weird, and now I have an excuse to get out of it.
But honestly, I think it's totally reasonable to break up with a comedian because it is such a weird lifestyle. This guy breaking up with her because she's going to grad school because she's not making as much money. Right. Scumbag, in my opinion, scumbag.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Louis Katz. Go follow the special. It is out right now. It's called Present Tense. YouTube.com/Louis Katz Comedy. I don't even know her name. Laser hair removal. JTrain, feather to you and your illustrious guest. An extra feather for the special and come back to Dallas. I would love to. Here's my quandary. I've been on a laser hair removal journey now for 8 months. Every 6 weeks, I see my laser girl, and we've exchanged some pretty personal details while she zaps my underarms and vajayjay. She honestly gives me more confidence than I've experienced in years. She's great at what she does and makes me feel pretty comfy in a pretty personal situation. I even look forward to my appointment. But here's the issue. I don't know this girl's name. She probably told me at some point, but I forgot, and there's never been a really good time to ask her when she's asking me to spread my butt cheeks. This all came to a head last week when I went to my appointment and they were running a promotion. Write a Google review and mention my name for a chance to win a large area for free, worth $1,500. Okay. There are like 3 reviews, so the odds are good here. But for the life of me, I can't remember her name. Tried looking online, nada. Thought about asking the front desk person, but she'll probably tell her, LOL. I thought about tipping through Venmo to see her name, but I'd have to keep doing that for the next 10 months. Nope. Beyond the promo, I honestly just feel like I need to know the name of someone who's all up in my junk on a regular basis. What would you do, Wizard of Oz? Sincerely, Brazilian Blunder Betch. What do you think, Louis Katz?
This is great. This is like a modern Seinfeld episode. I think it's really funny. I think, you know what I would do? I say you get someone to call in like they're your personal assistant. I'm making the appointment for her. She wants to see a regular person. I'm sorry, what was her name?
Right.
That's it.
The call, not the face-to-face with the desk person. Call in, hi, I work at the office of, your name. She has been regularly seeing, so what's her name? She described her, has been regularly seeing her. Can you go through to her backlog? I'm sure they have a computer, like who you've dealt with in the past. She wants to go to the same person, but she never told me the name. Can you give me the name? Play dumb over the phone. You're the assistant. I love this solution.
Yeah.
That's it. Game over. JTrain podcast at gmail.com. JTrain podcast at gmail. It's funny how, she's like, I'm getting this removal. It's an important part of my life.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I wouldn't think of it that way. It is, you're losing this hair forever, and this is like your surgeon. Like it's not, it's the same thing. It's as big a life thing as like, getting your eyebrows done or a boob job. You would know the name of the boob job person. It's a life decision.
Yeah. Well, I think the name of the clinic. I think it's a little less. The surgeon is more important than the technician. You know what I mean? Like I know my dentist. Sure. I don't necessarily know the dental technician's name. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
That's the difference.
Help trying to get a romantic vibe with near strangers. Hello, Jared. Okay. The most luxurious and high quality of feathers to you. Awesome job with the special. Trying to let other 30-somethings know about it, how true to life it is. I'm also in my mid-30s and trying to navigate the New York dating scene and find someone who wants something long-term up to and including marriage and kids. I've been single for almost 7 years with some short-term situationships sprinkled in that collapse when the potential of more appeared to be a possibility. While obtaining a first date is not much of a problem, especially off the apps, Hinge is my mainstay and occasional stints on Bumble and Coffee Meets Bagel. My reoccurring nemesis in all this, as for a lot of people, is the dreaded not feeling the romantic vibe text after a first date. I know I'm not for everyone, but one of my female friends said I should try to be more romantic, which to me is like telling a boxer to stop letting the other guy hit you. I'm trying, but it just doesn't sit right to go full on with my romantic side on a first date just because, for the most part, they're just good conversations over chat and text. Because at the same time, I don't want to go too full on too early, sell her the dream, then realize I don't even like her. How can I mitigate expectations going onto a first date? It's basically, how can I put out the message of, yes, I'm attracted and want to spend this time with you, but I want to like you before I can picture myself falling in love with you. Signed, someone who doesn't want to microwave his relationship. Louis Katz, what do you think?
It's a man. Is that right?
Seems as though it's a man who's kind of just looking to figure out why he's getting the text, I'm not getting a romantic vibe, which is a totally normal text. I'm going to start this off by saying you can't avoid heartbreak. You can't avoid getting, I don't have a romantic match with you. The hard part about online dating specifically is you're just getting more, and people are on there frivolously. Sure. And every first date is the same. And then you find out what they're looking for. So you're going to get on first dates that end with someone going, I'm just happy I got out of the house, and you were a device to do that for me. You're going to get people that go on a date with you that go, I just got out of a long-term relationship. I'm just happy I went on the date. You're going to get people that go, you're not my type. You're going to get people that go, I have another guy I'm seeing or another woman I'm seeing. So, like, you're in this grab bag that is way wider than your friend being like, hey, you should meet so-and-so. They're looking for the same things as you. You have to admit to the blindness of this.
I think all that is true. Those are all good points. I think he might be having some, maybe his camera angles are a little too good. I mean, maybe those, you know what I mean? Maybe those photos are a little, you try and put your best photo on there. Maybe they're too good. And this guy does not look like the photos. You know what I mean? I think that, and this is going to sound crazy, but breath. You could have some funky breath. You know what I mean? There's things that are happening. To me, it's an issue of what's the difference between you online and then you in person. Now, it could be what you're saying. It could be these people just not looking for whatever, but maybe there's a discrepancy there where people think it's going to be something and then something happens over the course of the day and it's like, this isn't right. Are you shorter than you're saying? Are you, like I said, the photos are that you have to put one realistic photo on there. You know what I mean?
These are all things on the list to look at. Let's look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Let me add this in. Dating app dates are very meeting-like. They are less sexy than we want them to be. So you might be just being a little bit too meeting-like, too business-like.
Totally.
And I think dating apps set you up to be business-like. Here's what I would say to this guy. Everything Louis said, totally agree with. Let's check our pictures. Let's make sure we're giving people the right idea of who they're going to be presented with. Let's make sure we're not lying on the app. We're speaking to a man. A lot of men lie about their height. Mm-hmm. Let's show it to your female friend that told you to be more romantic. Show her the app. Show her your profile. Just be like, hey, give this a once over. Is this me?
Mm-hmm.
I would also get more specific with your prompts on Hinge. You have to your prompts should be written to turn people away, not bring them in. So if your prompts are too vague, if your prompts are too like, anyone could have written them, that's just looking for matches. You're fishing for matches instead of fishing for your match. Here's the last thing. Let's make these dates less meeting-like. You were ready to go out the day of a match. I'd be ready to go out with anyone I have a good conversation with the day of. Hey, let's do this area tonight. Let's make things happen quicker. Let's have things happen more casually. Casual is more romantic. Casual, you have to take something that's very mathematical and make it art. The apps are mathematical. They are built for people who are looking to not get turned down. They're taking away risk. Risk is romantic. So you have to add risk into this. So I think if he's making a date, let's make it that night. Hey, I'm out tonight. Let's get drinks. Let's get your number. I'm going to be out with friends having dinner. I'm going to be in this area. Would want to get drinks after. Let's make things happen quicker and more casually.
I think all that's great. And also just make sure you're flossing, like floss your teeth.
Get rid of this funky breath. JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Here with Louis Katz at Louis Katz Comedy. Go follow the special. It is out on YouTube right now, youtube.com/Louis Katz Comedy. Last one. You ready?
Let's do it.
Married friend drama, need help. Dear Jared and guests, love you, love the pod. I have a friend problem and I need your advice. I'm a single 41-year-old woman with a good job who owns her own home. Financial independence has made me feel indifferent about marriage, and I also don't want kids. I basically date like a man with no timeline who is out having fun on the dating scene. My married friend is 41, unemployed, and in a sexless marriage. The problem is she'll go on and on explaining to me that I need to stop thinking about sex and marry someone who's my best friend because sex stops after a certain point. I know her perspective is skewed and plenty of couples still have sex after marriage. I've grown resentful and annoyed with her comments. I interpret her comments as condescending. I hate getting your problem is you like sex and that's not realistic from this person. I'm not a sex maniac or anything I do. I'm not a sex maniac or anything, but I do prefer to be with someone I'm actually interested in physically and mentally. How do I shut this down in any kind of way when it comes up? Thanks for your sage wisdom. Louis Katz, you are the married friend to some people. What do you think?
Yes, I'm married. It's like a pet peeve of mine, and it happens a lot. Well, people just give you the advice. They either want to drag you into their problem or they're giving you the advice that they think for their life. This friend is not is agrees with their about life. Her own problem. You know what I mean? Right. It has nothing to do with her. It has all to do with herself, and she's pushing that onto her friend. And I think her friend if her friend is happy, then she doesn't have to do anything different. Like that's that. I don't understand. This friend clearly has a sad marriage. Sad married people want to drag you into being sad and married for some reason. Right. Like it's more fun. They want to. If we're both fun and sad and married together, but don't do it. Have a good time.
You're totally right. They want to confirm that their life is normal. Yes. They want to let people, by saying this is how it is easier than, hey, I got to talk with my husband or my wife and go to therapy and start talking about our problems so that we can have a happier life. It's way easier to get everyone sad and married than to fix your sad and married life.
Yeah.
So that's their goal. And I agree with you. This is annoying. I think it's her biggest problem, and she doesn't really say it in her email, is like she's probably going to her friend and telling them stories about her dating life, and because they're more fun stories than hearing about this sad, unemployed married woman. So she's the entertainment. Can you imagine? Because she's getting together with her friend. Her friend doesn't want to talk about her life because she's not happy. So now you're put in the position to talk about your life, and the audience is basically going, no, you're wrong. No, that's not how you should do it. Ooh, like it's like when we go on stage and tell a joke and someone in the crowd goes, ooh, aw.
Yeah,
it's like, no. This person's awing them. And, there's a point where you go, well, this is what we're talking about because you don't want to share your life. It's not like this, because this person's refusing to be vulnerable. When they're saying you should have less sex and it's always going to go away and you're not doing it right, they're not really telling their own story. the right way. So
it could also be that hearing, I mean, it's also like, think about hearing these stories all the time. You're in this sad, sexless marriage, and you got your friend just going out there and getting dick right and left. That's got to make you feel sad, you know. It's like it's going to compound your sadness, and you got to tell them like, you got to. She's telling her the advice that she's telling herself. You know what I mean? It's just, does she say, and I'm having all this sex with all these guys and living this way, and I'm not happy, or is she happy? Then that's that, you know.
Right.
I mean, maybe
the problem is, well, she's probably saying like, "Oh, can you believe this happened?" And the person's like, "This is what happens when you're only going for sex." And you're like, "Well, no, that doesn't." You know, like that's annoying. Is because they have this one trump card, and it's like they live in and also this friend is stuck, 41 unemployed in this sexless marriage. Like, you know, they probably, you know, financially, you know, they probably feel a little stuck. So they're like, their only thing is to say this is okay. You know, it sounds brutal. If I was this person, I would ask this person. I would let the other person be the entertainment. I'd stop being the entertainment. I'd go, you know, what's going on in your house? How's the home?
What do you mean? What's your entertainment? I watched this show and I had no sex and I still have no job. How is that entertaining?
Right. And then you could go, well, what's going on? Like I think this person is refusing to be on stage when they hang out. So now this person has to like tell their fun stories about going on dates and, you know, sucking on some random dude's ball. And the other person goes, ooh, I don't know. And it's like, what? You ever notice when you're on stage and someone does aw and you
I hate the aw.
I hate it.
Because we're up there. The fact that we're on a stage at a fucking comedy club with a microphone in our hands means we've taken whatever negative thing and we've made it funny. And you just unfunnied it. You just made it. You took it back. You took that power away from us, and you made it unfunny again. You made it sad again.
I think that's what this person's doing. Yes. I think this person's being like, yeah, I went and fucked some dude last night. Aw, and it's like,
no aw. Yeah.
This is a happy story.
Yes.
Sure, I didn't come. That's the part I want to tell you about because that's a fun story to tell.
Yes,
but it's not a bad story. Yes.
I think there's also. I think you've keyed into that, which I didn't hear first. There's going to be like ups and downs in her stories, and just because she's complaining about some guy she hooked up with doesn't mean she's saying she doesn't want that lifestyle. You know,
right? And I think she needs to you know, if you're going to keep this friendship, which I wouldn't even want to keep it, but I'm saying if you're going to keep this friendship, you can go, hey, you know, this is a happy story. Like, I'm fine in my life, right? Like, I would stop this person to be like, I'm okay with where I am. You know that, right? And then, like, see how they respond to that. Well, and then they would go, well, you just talked about not coming. It's like, yeah, that's the price you pay for finding a new dude every week. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like, you
totally.
know?
Yes. It's like you have to pivot it to I'm happy, getting all this dick. And then if you want it depends how good a friend they are. If they're a really good friend, eventually you got to pivot to maybe you need to change your life. You know what I mean? Which is a hard pivot. You know what I mean? But it sounds like otherwise it's not going to work out. You know, like
I think the pivot, your pivot's correct. I think there's the first pivot is you know I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
And then they go and you get I'm talking. You do know I'm happy, and then they go, oh, well, you were just complaining about this, so I figured maybe you wanted advice. No. I'm just telling you these stories because I like talking to you. And if you have a problem with the way I'm living, like, I would love to talk about that. But like, or I can stop telling you these stories if they make you feel bad. I would say that too.
Yeah. Well, I think here's what I think. It's even simpler. Hey, guess what? I'm happy. 1, 2. Are you happy?
Right. And
then let them, you know, say what they got to say, you know, and that's that.
JTrain podcast at gmail.com, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Louis Katz, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
So much fun. Everyone go follow Louis at Louis Katz Comedy on Instagram, at Louis Katz Comedy on YouTube. We're going to have the link in the bio. I'm Jared Freed. We're here every Monday with your emails, JTrain podcast at gmail.com. Back next week. Boom.